my name is Kayla Burke. I work for ASU's Police Department. There are just a few things I wanted to explain before jumping into the meat of my interview. The person that I interviewed was Officer Mason, and the topic of our interview were the changes that he helped implement into their field officer training program. I also just wanted to touch on some vocabulary that's used during the video. OIT is said often, which is an acronym for Officer in Training, and FTO is said often, which is an acronym for Field Training Officer. Within the organization, or ASUPD, do you see individuals challenging questions and validating for themselves the need for change?
Yes. I would ask the question, what is good customer service? What does ASU want? And I believe he came up with the conclusion, legitimacy. We are a professional agency. By the way we conduct ourselves and we act. We started going through legitimacy training, which is a level of professional conduct.
So what Officer Mason was just referring to was the recognition from the Chief of Police recognizing that there was a need for change. And that's actually one of the concepts that we went over this semester. Within ASUPD, does the group that's guiding the change, so the FTO team, do they guide change and maintain a consistent approach and direction?
Yes, I believe they do. The FTO is the primary officer, the first person you'll meet that starts to shape who you are as a police officer. You go from that FTO to the next FTO. The next FTO is going to have a little bit different shape. You're still seeing a consistency of upholding the Constitution, of good arrests, of good probable cause. There's a consistency there.
And things I wanted to point out with what Officer Mason just said was in the fact that he said that upholding the Constitution was a common thread throughout all of the teachings that the FTO officers teach the OIC, the officers in training. One of the concepts in the book was to enlist others in a common vision by appealing to shared aspirations. And those specific values that Officer Mason was describing would be those shared values. That's the consistent factor.
That is a consistent factor.
And that concept in our textbook of appealing to the shared aspirations is also going to spill over into the next section of getting the vision right. Regarding the change effort, is the vision compelling and desirable for the department?
I believe, again, it goes back to our legitimacy and wanting to be legitimate. I think a lot of police officers want to feel professional. They want to be seen as professional, be seen seriously, make good decisions, and seen as somebody that upholds the Constitution, is doing the job, and can have a sense of pride from that by treating people the way they need to. I think it is compelling with our environment, the people that we have here.
Do they discuss the vision goals and strategies in routine management meetings as well as informal and formal gatherings?
The informal meeting there would be, we would have a meeting to discuss where the OIT was, so that informal communication would occur between FTOs. We would talk between each other. On top of that, we would have a formal phase board, and the OIT would be present.
Okay.
We'd make sure that they knew and they understood what we're looking for the success. That would be an informal meeting with a formal meeting.
So during those informal meetings, the focus was on the officer in training.
Correct. And
that was how the vision
for success was, that.
So an important thing I think to point out there about what Officer Mason just said goes along with Chapter 9 in our textbook when the authors talk about fostering collaboration. During those informal meetings when he was speaking about the FTOs meeting together to talk about the OITs, what they really were was building a relationship with not only the OITs but the FTOs as well. And that, in effect, builds trust, and that's what creates the buy-in. Okay, so within ASUPD, do you see recognition and reward systems that inspire, promote optimism, and build self-confidence, specifically with the FTOs?
Telling a OIT they do good, or hey, that was a great job on that. You do immediate feedback was a great thing. But while you're doing well, while you're progressing through a call, you say, hey, Kayla, you did the same call yesterday. Today you did a great job. Immediate feedback, positive feedback was a good thing for the FTO program. And so you could see that. You could see a fundamental change, I think, in the FTO program from going to more of a positive end.
So just to reiterate what he was saying, that positive feedback was an example of strengthening others, which is what Chapter 10 in our textbook talks about in depth. Regarding the change effort with the Field Training Officer program, are there quick results that are made visible to all? in the department, or is it just specifically with that officer in training?
It is usually specifically just with that officer because the FTO program is very private. I was an attaboy type of guy, so I'd say, hey, great job. That becomes public when it's time to graduate or time to get on the road and become solo.
So once again, Officer Mason is talking about positive feedback that he would give to his OICs, and it's also talked about in Chapter 11 of our textbook in Recognizing Contribution. Within ASUPD, are the field training officers seeking to convince everyone that the change is complete when in actuality there is more work to be done, or is it just, do you find that it's the opposite?
But there's still going to be real struggle areas, and that's where as an FTO we would encourage this person. So the FTO sergeant, he would check progression. And listen and maybe read your reports to see how you were progressing through your first 6 months to a year on the job. But over time, their mastery is found when they continue to work on the same stuff and others are able to kind of interject. As long as they're willing to learn continuously, there'll always be room for mastery on something. There's always a new way to do something.
I liked what Mason said about there's always something new to learn. And that's also talked about in Chapter 10. Education is key to combating complacency in the workplace. Within ASUPD, do people use old habits, values, and traditions to describe how things have changed? Within the field training officer program.
When I was an FTO, I heard stories about it. Everybody started out as one. That's one of the old rituals in the FTO program that went away. They could start out at the top end. You no longer start from the big bottom. So it was a very traditional, old school way of doing that.
So just to kind of explain what he was talking about there, he was talking about the old scoring system with the FTO program and how officers were evaluated. And then he went on to explain how the new implemented ways to the FTO program really empowered the officers and developed them to becoming leaders themselves, which I think really captures the overall theme of this course.